We run training here, not daycare. Rookies don't belong. Eli's finger slices the air and lands on me. Then on Noah. 10 years old, shoulders squared like he's trying to hold up the whole gym. The room goes quiet enough to hear the fluorescence buzz over the mats taped in peeling blue lines. My keys jangle as I set down the mop, my old spiral notebook peeking from my back pocket like a secret I'm not ready to show. Noah should be moved to special programs, Eli adds. Noah's fingers dig into his belt, and the edge of my notebook presses into my thigh. The room freezes for real. Nights, the center belongs to the hum of the soda machine and the smell of bleach. That's when I clock in, empty lobby, trophy case reflecting me in a warped ghost version. Maya the mop, not Maya the coach. My phone vibrates with the Rent app's red banner. 7 days late. $7.42 due by Friday. 5 p.m. Grace has been reviewing staffing, which everyone knows is code for thin ice. If Eli keeps calling me a rookie in front of parents, that ice thins to glass. Saturday at 5 p.m., 72 hours from now. The open house and fundraiser will pack this place with donors, council members, and a city inspector. The grant we need doesn't say, for feelings. It says reputation, and reputation is whatever loud men point at. If the night staffer becomes the story, the clumsy janitor who disrupted class. We lose the money, I lose my job, and Noah loses the one place his body has ever felt like an answer instead of a question. I open my battered notebook on the front desk, cover frayed, corners soft as cloth. Inside are years of drills sketched in pencil and a checklist I wrote for kids who don't use sound to learn. I trace the page with my thumb and picture Noah's shoulders settling when a cue lands right. 3 days. That's all I have to prove silence isn't a defect, and to make this building hear him, not just the men who speak for it. Daytime staff brag about the center's smart upgrades, like it's a spaceship. A voice-activated timer sits on the front table. Say start round and it chirps. Lesson plans read like sermons to sound. Yell break. Call stop. Recite the creed. The whiteboard for visual cues is shoved behind the supply cart with 3 dead markers rolling in its tray. When a kid doesn't respond to shouting, the script is automatic. For safety, let's move him to special programs. They say it gently, like they're patting a problem on the head. Insurance rules are the sanctuary. There's a fat binder on Grace's desk. Tabs labeled incident, liability, waiver in fire truck red. Eli quotes it like scripture. We can't risk it, he says. The insurer wants consistent verbal commands. The binder doesn't actually say that. I've read it on breaks with a sandwich in one hand and my notebook in the other. The liability tab literally reads, verbal cues recommended, not required. But no one asks me. I'm the one who takes out the trash, not the one who reads fine print. I mop under the heavy bag while parents chat about tournaments and protein powder. They look through me like I'm glass. When the scoreboard freezes, it's Maya must have unplugged the router. When the laundry goes missing, Maya must have mixed bins. Eli never looks at me long enough to notice the collar grip calluses on my fingers or the chalk diagrams in my battered notebook. He only notices glitches, and glitches where my name tag. Noah watches everything. He sees how I slide the whiteboard upright after class and write 4 picture cues in the corner before someone rolls it away again. He doesn't need the room to be loud. He needs the room to see. The argument spreads like bleach fumes. Sharp, impossible to ignore. Parents murmur. Eli paces with his clipboard. The voice timer sits smug on the table, waiting to be obeyed. Noah's chin is tucked to his chest, fists balled, feet parallel, good heart, shaky base. I step onto the edge of the mat, shoes off, mop leaning like a spear against the wall. Noah, I say softly, and make sure he can see my hands. I touch 2 fingers to my sternum, then lower my palm, flat, pressing air, stop. I open my palm toward him, your turn, then touch the inside of his elbow and slide his heel a half-inch back, the way Alvarez taught me to root the stance without a word. He breathes out through his nose. His shoulders settle. We try it slow. He moves, I tap. 2 light pulses on his forearm. Stop. His eyes light, the way floodlights do when they finally catch a goal. I draw a quick square on the mat's tape with my finger. This is safe. He steps into it and gives me a nod, small but solid. The room's noise thins. Even the soda machine seems to listen. My phone buzzes. On the screen, a clip of last night's drill diagrams and a text stacked above it. Coach Alvarez, thanks for the breakdown. Your tactile tree is clean. I flick to my notes. Tiny sketches of hand shapes, arrows for angles, a checklist titled silent clinch, eyes, palm, tap, release. My battered notebook waits on the bench, edges curled, the same drawings in pencil and sweat. Eli's laugh cuts across the mat. So our rookie is a coach now? He leans on the timer like it's a podium, smirk glossy under the fluorescence. Cute parlor tricks, Maya. But this is a training facility. We use commands. Noah squares his stance on his own, palms open. He gives me the exact two-tap I gave him. Question? I mirror the palm down, stop. He lands still as a photo. For a heartbeat, even Eli's smirk forgets what it's doing. By morning, Noah's name vanishes from the roster like someone erased him with a wet thumb. The schedule app refreshes, and where it used to say Cole/Reyes, beginner mixed, it now reads Cole. Special programs review. Noah's slot is stamped discipline hold. He doesn't have discipline issues. He has a coach who won't shout. At noon, an email pings the parent list. Subject: safety adjustment, janitorial staff interference. 6:42 p.m. Eli's voice and text. Last night's class was disrupted by a staff member acting outside training protocols. For safety, we're adjusting rosters. He doesn't use my name, but janitorial night shift in bold might as well be a spotlight. He CCs Grace. He attaches a blurry still of me on the edge of the mat, palm down, which looks, if you squint for trouble, like a stop sign thrown in a coach's face. I read it twice, then forward it to my own account and save the PDF to a folder labeled Documents. Open house. Everything I keep is public and above-board emails sent to me, posted schedules, policy excerpts. No secret recordings. No gotchas. Just the paper trail they're sure I don't understand. The afternoon drifts on with its ordinary insults. Someone forgets to stack the folding chairs. A parent asks if I have a real job lined up after this. At 3, Grace steps out of her office and gives me a smile made of porcelain. We're getting complaints, Maya, she says, voice hushed but carrying. Eli's concerned about insurance exposure. Maybe stick to facilities tonight. There's a red binder open on her desk like a witness who always favors the prosecution. At 4:15, my phone lights up with a different red. Eviction warning. Final notice. Balance: $742. Due, Friday, 5 p.m. The digits press into my chest like a knee. I steady myself against the trophy case. In the glass, I'm doubled Maya with mop, Maya with notebook. The notebook's cardboard is soft at the spine. I slide it open and see the page I titled Safety. Silent, visual board, tactile taps, written consent, incident log. The checklist looks back at me like a promise I once made to a room of kids who learned with their eyes. I hang the mop on its hook like lowering a flag at dusk. My hands are steady. The lobby smells like lemon cleaner and rubber mats warming under the lights. I will the whiteboard out, shake a marker until it coughs ink, and write in thick block letters. Saturday, 5 p.m., spar. If I lose, I quit. If I win, Noah stays on equal terms. Eli laughs from the doorway. Cute. You think a stunt fixes policy? It fixes reputation, I say. Isn't that what you quote to everyone? The words are already on the board, big enough for donors to read from the parking lot. Grace steps out, porcelain smile ready, then falters when she sees the writing. Parents drift closer, the kind of crowd that forms around a fracture line. I pull my battered notebook from my pocket and slide a printed page inside its cover. A clean set of spar rules I typed on my break. No head strikes, I say, tapping the clause so everyone sees. Controlled pace. Tap respected. Grace, you referee. We do it at the open house, in public, with waivers signed and posted. I hold out the sheet. Transparent, safe, and on record. Grace reads, lips moving just enough to count clauses. She looks at the gathering donors, Then at the city flyer stacked on the desk, open house. Saturday, 5 p.m., and calculates. Fine, she says at last, voice crisp. No head strikes. I'll referee. We'll call it a demonstration. I snap a photo of the board and of the printed NO head strikes. Demonstration rules. Pin the printout to the announcement corkboard. Then email both to the center's general inbox. CCing Grace and Eli. Subject line. Open house demonstration terms. Public notice. Everything documented. Everything above board. Noah appears at the edge of the lobby, eyes flicking from the board to me. I give him the open palm cue, wait, and he nods, calm as a held note. Somewhere a jump rope slaps the floor like a countdown. 3 days. We're done whispering. Saturday smells like coffee and new money. Donors cluster by the trophy case. A city inspector in a navy blazer stands near the scorer's table, pen poised. Grace wears a striped referee shirt, whistle tucked to the side like punctuation. The whiteboard faces the bleachers, wiped clean and ready. My battered notebook sits on its edge, page flagged with blue tape. Grace steps to center mat. Before our demonstration, she says crisp. One question. How do you give a silent stop signal in a clinch? Safely. I raise a hand. 10 seconds. Danny, a teen volunteer in a yellow belt, jogs over, palms open. I hold up the notebook for the inspector to see the page title. Silent clinch, safety. Then I set it down and move. 1. I catch Danny's eyes and touch 2 fingers to my sternum. Me. Then open my palm, level and down. Stop. 2. I point to the board where I've drawn a red square and a green square. Finger on red, freeze, tap green, reset. 3. In the clinch, I give 2 light taps on Danny's forearm. Tap tap. Then break contact, hands visible like sunrise. 4. We step into a small tape box I laid on the mat earlier, the safe square, and face out so observers can see our hands. 5. I nod once, her nod returns, mutual check. Takes less time than Grace's breath between syllables. I hold up my wristband. Blue means tactile okay. Green means visual only. Bands are logged next to a parent's signature in the journal. I lift the logbook so the inspector sees the columns waiting for ink. We clinch again. I cut an outside angle, snug but gentle. Danny taps once. Question. I mirror the open palm. Stop. We freeze. I guide her out and point to green, reset. The whole sequence is visible, quiet, clean. Parents lean forward. A donor lowers his cup. The voice-activated timer looks suddenly old. Language, I say, tapping the notebook, is more than sound. I draw 3 icons. An eye, a hand, a square, and circle them. Eyes, hand, safe square. That's our grammar. Grace lifts the whistle, but the crowd is already shifting. A tide turning without her permission. 2 figures in gray hoodies step onto the mat. Hoods up, hands behind backs like they're waiting for a referee's check. Can we speak? The taller one asks. Grace hesitates, calculating optics, then nods. They pull their hoods back. Kira Mendoza and Andre Till, the national team's reigning kata champions. Lanyards catch the fluorescence with a small official glint. Kira raises her badge. We're here on our own time, she says, but not without receipts. She palms a clear sleeve to the inspector. Federation IDs, a signed letter, a printed training log. Andre mirrors her, offering the second set to Grace. The inspector flips the first page. Out loud, he reads what the room can hear. Consultant. Maya Cole. Adaptive, tactile, and visual protocols. Approved curriculum components attached. His pen pauses. How long? He asks me. 2 years. I say. My notebook feels heavier, like a tool I can finally name. Andre faces the bleachers. We call her our quiet coach, he says. She taught us the silent clinch when Kira was rehabbing after a concussion. Less noise, more control. We used it at nationals. He taps the training log. Dates, drills, consent forms. Everything legit. Kira nods at the letter. Signed by Tech Director M. Santos, March 3rd. File FD 218. She signs thank you toward me, small and precise. A murmur ripples. Grace's porcelain smile cracks a hair. Eli laughs, brittle. Cute cameo. Not a cameo, Kira replies, polite as a bow. An acknowledgement. She points to my icons. We brought verification because people doubt what they don't hear. The inspector takes photos of the badges and the letter, then hands the sleeves back. For the record, he says, pen poised like a seal about to stamp. This center acknowledges Ms. Cole's documented expertise. Grace opens her mouth, then closes it. The room waits. I meet her eyes and don't blink. Noted, the inspector says, writing anyway. Noah leans into the aisle for a better look, eyes wide. He touches 2 fingers to his chest, me, then signs coach. The word lands on me like a bell rung in a quiet church. Across the mat, Eli rolls his shoulders, steps forward, and finally points at the center circle. Then let's see it, he says. Right now. Grace holds up the waiver stack like a judge shows a docket. Demonstration rules confirmed. No head strikes. Controlled pace. On my whistle. I set my battered notebook on the scorer's table, its bent cover facing the crowd like a witness sworn in. I touch 2 fingers to my sternum, me. Open palm down, stop, and nod at Grace. Consent visible. Eli doesn't wait for ceremony. He storms to center mat, shoulders square, chin high, the kind of confidence that mistakes volume for truth. The whistle splits the air. He lunges, straight line, heavy feet. I cut a 45 off center, angle past his reach, catch his wrist with a light sleeve grip, and draw him an inch farther than he wants to be. No head touch. Elbows soft, torso quiet. He tries to collar tie. I meet mid-forearm, redirecting, like closing a door gently instead of slamming it. Break! He barks out of habit. I don't answer. I show the palm down, stop, clear enough for the inspector to see, then release and reset to the green square. The room notes the grammar even if it doesn't have the words. He circles, breath tight through his nose. He feints high to bait a reach. I don't bite. When he steps across, his heel floats for a blink. My right foot scythes, to ashy barai, an outside sweep gentle as a broom, while my left hand supports, guiding, not dumping. He meets the mat like a book closing softly. I settle into scarf hold with no pressure, forearm cradling, not grinding. Open palm where Grace can see. Eli bridges. I let him, riding the wave, hips light, total control, zero malice. The inspector's pen taps count 1, 2, 3, as if to mark that time can be held without shouting. A single staccato tap against my triceps, his. I return one, acknowledged, and release before he can claim I kept him. Hands open. Red square, freeze. Green, reset. Protocol, public. He springs up fast, pride hot, then winces just a flicker when his knee kisses the mat. Last spring, one of his kids blew the same joint in a sloppy scramble. He knows risk. He's just confusing means with ends. He barrels again, trying to muscle the scramble into something ugly. I take his arm like a coat slipping from a hanger. Clean arm drag, pivot behind. My chest never touches his head. My grip nowhere near his neck. He stumbles, I guide, placing him face down as lightly as setting a sleeping kid in a bed. Another tap. Another release. We stand. I bow, small, respectful. He does not. Grace's whistle chirps once, crisp as glass. Demonstration concluded, she says, but the room already decided. The sound that fills the gym isn't applause. It's the hush that happens when a truth lands so clean it doesn't need clapping. Noah is on his feet, eyes bright, palms open. He gives me 2 gentle taps in the air, question. I mirror the palm down, stop. He grins, breathing steady, shoulders low, strong. Grace doesn't wait for applause that isn't coming. She lifts the mic, stripes of her ref shirt stark against white. Effective immediately, she says, today. Maya Cole is head of adaptive programs at Maple Ridge. The room makes that small sound people make when reality shifts a notch. My name slides into a seat it's been circling for years. She keeps going, all clauses and commas. Full-time with benefits. Salary at $58,500, plus a $2,000 annual training stipend earmarked for adaptive instruction. A formal 90-day review on July 1st. She nods toward the inspector. We'll file the updated safety checklist you just witnessed. For the record, he says, pen poised, today's protocol was visible, consent-based, and within non-contact parameters. No insurer conflict as long as the checklist is adopted and posted. His stamp thunks once on his clipboard, a quiet gavel. Grace turns to the bleachers. Noah Reyes receives a 1-year scholarship, dues and gear, funded from today's event, and he trains in the main group starting Monday. Equal terms. Eli shifts, jaw set. Grace doesn't soften. Coach Brooks, you're suspended from contact coaching for 30 days. You'll retain your position if, within 90, you complete certification in the silent method and enroll in ASL Level 1. We'll cover the cost. Refusal means reassignment to admin. This isn't punishment. It's standards. I step to the bulletin board and pin a new sheet next to the schedule. Pay bands, updated today. Coach I. $46, 54K. Coach 2, adaptive $55, 63K. Reviews on January 1st and July 1st. Numbers where everyone can see them. Donors stop guessing. Parents stop wondering. By Monday, the trophy case holds more than dust and old ribbons. It holds a laminated map with 3 icons. An eye, a hand, a square. I pin the first silent sessions poster beside the front desk and slide my battered notebook onto the counter like a blueprint we can finally read. We start with grammar. Blue wristband. Tactile cues okay. Green visual only. No band. Voice as needed. Never required. At the door, parents initial a simple consent sheet. Plain English on one side, picture cues on the other, and band color is logged next to the signature. The whiteboard moves from exile to center wall. I draw red freeze, green reset, and I add a third yellow check. Kids love the traffic light rhythm. So do the insurers. Grace and I rewrite policy in the open. The fat binder gets a new tab, adaptive, silent protocols. With the safety checklist we demonstrated, eyes, palm, tap, release, log. We post it next to the injury forms like a mirror. What prevents gets equal space to what records. The inspector emails a thumbs up I never expected from a navy blazer. Eli shows on day 3 with an ASL Level 1 workbook under his arm. Contrition clipped but real. I schedule him in shadow-only blocks. He demos grips. I cue the room silently. When he forgets and barks, break. I point to yellow, check, and he nods, signs sorry in a shape like wiping fog from a window. The kids forgive faster than the adults. Staff training stops being a rumor. I run 2-hour labs on Saturdays. Icon drills, tactile trees, mixed group games, logging and incident simulations. We practice the reset flow until even the teen volunteers can run it without me. I print pocket cards, eye/hand/square on one side, the 5-step checklist on the other, with a QR to an anonymous incident log. Each week we post the aggregate on the board. The voice timer stays, but it's just one tool, not the altar. On the mats, the change is quiet and obvious. Mixed groups form without ceremony. Deshaun hums when he grapples, Priya hates whistles, Noah thrives in the green square resets. They all learn the same throw with different doors into it. After class, we log it. Who used which cues, any taps that turned into timeouts, any near misses, and how the protocol caught them before they became incidents. The log reads like what it is, a system working, not a stunt. 90 days in, the numbers stop being wishful and start being weight. I pin a 1-page dashboard next to the schedule, simple bars and circles anyone can read. Enrollment, plus 27%, from 112 to 142. Injuries in silent segments, minus 35%, from 14 to 9 this quarter. A donor taps the graph with his car key and says, metrics, finally, like he's been waiting for permission to believe. 3 clubs downriver copy the protocol: Brookline, Fairview, North Bend. I host a free clinic on a rainy Sunday. Coaches take the pocket cards home like souvenirs, and a week later my inbox fills with videos of quiet drills. Kids grinning in green square resets. Eli stands beside me handing out bands, signing check and reset with hands he used to fold into fists. The city council votes the grant through on a brisk Thursday night. eyes neat as dominoes. The inspector's public report lands in the morning. Visible, consent-based protocol. Reduced incident rate. Replicable. Grace forwards the link with a one-line subject. Approved. I print the page and slide it into the fat binder under our new tab, where it belongs. A month later, the Federation publishes a slim guide on inclusive training and drops our name in a case study, Rivorton model, with my diagrams cleaned into proper icons. They email to ask if they can photograph my notebook. I send the copy tacked over the cubbies. The original stays with me, bent spine and all. Noah takes the stage at the Rivorton Open, not for sparring but for a kata demo. Precise, controlled, quiet as snowfall. He lands his sequence and stands square in the green box we taped onto the stage just for him. The announcer hands him the technical excellence plaque. Noah doesn't hear the applause, but he sees the raised hands and smiling eyes. He touches 2 fingers to his chest knee and signs coach toward our corner. His mom cries and laughs in the same breath. I write his name on our board under main group, scholarship, and circle it twice. Late evening settles over Maple Ridge like a soft towel. The lobby lights click to half bright. The mats cool under a thin skin of chalk. I lock the side door, keys chiming once, then smooth a fresh Silent Sessions poster against the corkboard. Eye hand, square gleaming under a strip of tape. The ceiling fan clicks on every rotation. Steady, like a tick in the logbook. On the front desk, the fat binder sits open to adaptive silent protocols. Pages neat, corners sharp. Next to it, I lay my battered notebook, the one with the bent spine and sweat-warped edges. I've written the title in firm black marker now, not pencil I'm ready to erase. Hearing with your eyes, a skill. The words anchor instead of apologize. I flip the cover. Tucked inside is a photo we printed this afternoon. Noah standing in the green tape square, new stripes stitched bright on his belt. His mom's smile wide enough to light the hall. He's not posing. He's breathing, shoulders low, palms open, like the room finally speaks his language. Behind him, the whiteboard carries 3 icons and a single word circled twice. Reset. I file the day's log and circle 2 lines, no head strikes. Clean taps recorded before sliding the sheet into its sleeve. The inspector's email sits starred. The Federation's guide is queued to print Monday. Eli's ASL workbook waits on the coach's shelf with a sticky note I left in big block letters. Check reset. I smile, small and real. Change sounds less like a speech than a pencil ticking through a checklist. I unclip my janitor's badge and set it beside the new card with my name under a different title. Head of Adaptive Programs. The 2 rectangles touch like a before and after you almost miss unless you look. The notebook goes between them, edges frayed, spine stubborn. A bridge that was always here, just invisible. Before I turn off the lights, I lift my hand and give the room one last open palm. Stop. Then point to the green square drawn at the corner of the board. Reset. The poster shifts in the air conditioning, catches the light, and stills. The building holds the cue. So do I. Silence isn't a gap in skill. It's a language of control, respect, and safety. When people label you a rookie to keep you small, bring receipts. The right facts turn down the noise all by themselves. Have you ever been written off as not a fit when you were simply speaking another language, signs, numbers, facts? Share your story in the comments. If this hit home, subscribe. More cases where silence beats noise are coming.